Hey, it's Classic Drive, and we're here at Stowe, Vermont, visiting the British Invasion. We're going to see some great cars, talk to some owners, so let's get to it.
Anything with an engine has always fascinated me. From the time I was old enough to hold a screwdriver, I was taking things apart. At 15, I got my first car, and my love for automobiles hasn't stopped since. I guess you could say I've had an affair with every car I've owned, and there have been many. I always have something on the go in the shop, and I want to share what I've learned with you. We're hitting the road to talk to people who collect, restore, preserve anything on wheels. So let's go!
When you think of things British, naturally in the United States, especially on the East Coast, you gotta think of the British Invasion. Over a pint of ale in 1990, this event was conceived, and over 600 cars come to this event annually. It's unbelievable to see the variety and the differences of the cars that are here. We're gonna talk to these owners and find out why this is the British lifestyle event. Hey, we're here with Bill and Steve Rule, and they've brought more of the eclectic cars to the British Invasion. They've actually brought a Beadmore taxi from 1958, and they've done some special things to it. Steve, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And Bill, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So tell us, Steve, I guess you were the impetus to this, car, this purchase, something special. How'd you find it and why?
Well, I found it online, and a fellow had it in York, Pennsylvania. And we had always talked about wanting to rehab a London taxi, and so it just fell into our plan.
So, Bill, you actually ended up doing a lot of the work. So he did the finding, and you did the work. Tell us about this. Is this a mission from God, or what?
It was a mission. We had to completely disassemble it. Had to replace a lot of the wood. It had been out in the parking lot for years, and it just sat there and basically rotted away. Definitely a labor of love.
Very good.
It was fun.
It was fun. So, Steve, did you get your hands dirty on this, or did you stand by?
No, I don't know how to do anything like this. I maybe polished a little chrome, but that's about it.
Did you supply the money at least?
Yeah, you could say that.
All right, so I can come over and you can, yeah, I see. So Bill, tell us, you even did the paint work on this, I understand.
Yes, I did the paint work in the garage. Hours and hours of painting, and then even more hours and hours of wet sanding and buffing.
Yeah, very good. Was it a challenge getting this running, or was it running when you got it?
Oh, definitely not running when we got it. My older son, Jordan, rebuilt the motor. We did clutch. First of all, we had to haul it off. We had to haul it off the trailer. The brakes were locked up, so we had to just pull it off. Yeah, we had to pull it off with a chain.
Very good, very good.
It was not in very good shape.
So how many years did it take you to get her done?
Off and on for 2 years.
Off and on for 2 years.
Yeah.
And this isn't the only classic in your stable, is it?
No.
What else do you got?
Oh, geez, we've got a couple of Healeys, 2 Minis, a Jag, a few MGs. TD, TC.
So really a family affair here, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
You've got an interesting passenger here. Tell us about the passenger.
Well, I came from a marketing background, and I always thought that if you're going to show something like this, make it something that people would like to see and might laugh about it. So I went on eBay and I bought a mannequin, and I got a rock and roll wig for him, and Bill used to be in a band. He had the leather pants and all those things, so we dressed the dummy up and like he's a rock star, and put his guitar case in there with a cigarette and a bottle of Jack Daniels.
Well, there you have it. You can enjoy this hobby many ways, and this is one of the more eclectic cars that came to the British Invasion, but anything is welcome as long as it's British. We enjoyed showing this car. We'll be back.
So people often ask, do I have to drain all the old coolant and water out of the system? Short answer is yes. The reason being, too much water in the system, you're going to lower your boiling point of the coolant, and you're going to have more risk of corrosion. An ideal conversion should consist of 3% or less water in the system. Once you do the conversion, you test it. If it's still over 3%, what you're going to want to do is drain out some of the coolant, add some new Evans waterless coolant to this system, retest, make sure you're below that 3% mark. The conversion process is pretty simple. It's a couple easy steps. Your first process you're going to do is you're going to drain out all of the old coolant and water. What we typically do is blow air through the system. You want to blow air through your hoses, the radiator, blow out your heater core. If you can get to the block drains on the engine, drain it through there and blow some high volume air through the whole system. Once you do that step, you're going to fill it with the Evans prep fluid here. You're going to run it. You want it to go through a heat cycle. It's going to absorb all the residual water and coolant. Once you go through that process, drain out the prep fluid, and then you're going to be ready to fill it with the Evans waterless coolant. We're often asked, how often do I have to replace Evans coolant? It really depends on conditions and the use of the vehicle. In most cases, like a car museum, car collectors, where the cars sit for a very long period of time, the coolant's going to typically last the life of an engine. One way to check and make sure your coolant is still good, make sure you're still below that 3% mark, you can use a refractometer, which we offer on the website. Another way, we also offer a free sampling program. So at any point in time, you can send us a sample of your coolant, we'll test it, and we'll get the results back to you as soon as possible.
I'm Dirk Burrowes for Classic Drive Television. I'm here at the Vintage Racing Stables looking at cars we didn't cover in the first season. So to see some of these vintage race cars and more, join us at Classic Drive Television.
My name is Bruce Cunningham. This is our car. This is a 1952 Jaguar XK120. I think it was late high school. My brother and I got interested in antique cars, had a 29 Chevy, which was kind of a basket case when we got it, but got it into running condition and drove it a lot. So that was the beginning. Then I got interested in sports cars when I was in the last couple of years in high school, because we lived not very far. We were in Poughkeepsie, which is not very far from Lime Rock. So my brother and I and a good friend of ours went to the absolutely first opening race at Lime Rock in 1957. And that's when I fell in love with an XK120 when I saw it coming around the track. It was absolutely gorgeous, and it was the fastest car in the field, and it really impressed me, and I just fell in love with it. Well, I was a mechanic in high school. My brother and I, our first car was a 52 Mercury. First thing we did when we got the car was took the head off the engine and put a new head gasket in. We had never worked on a car before. We're just natural mechanics. My father was a mechanic. I have a mechanics and engineering brain. It's just a natural thing for me to want to work on machinery. After I work on it, I get to see the results of that work in addition to what was there before. So it just keeps adding and adding to the passionate attachment of it to me. I know it's kind of hyperbole, but it feels like a spiritual connection to me.
I'm Jim, and I'm from Lowry's Auto Restoration, and this is my crew, and you're watching Classic Drive Television.
Hey, thanks for joining us on our Facebook page. I'm here with Joel and Jason from Chapman Manufacturing. We've been having a great day talking about their tool sets and where they can be used. And I found out that they're not only tool manufacturers, but they actually partake in the hobby. They built this '59 Chevy Apache with just one tool kit. How long did it take, Jason?
Took about 2 years.
And I'm sure you got to do a lot of this work?
No, I just directed.
Oh, very good. Hey, find out more about Chapman Manufacturing in upcoming episodes of Classic Drive Television. Thanks for joining us.
My name is Jim Macri, and this is my 1947 center steer prototype Land Rover. The granddaddy of all Land Rovers that exist today, and it's really a marvelous vehicle. Well, I've been interested in Land Rovers since the late 60s when I was working as a college student down on the island of Martha's Vineyard, which was literally covered with Land Rovers. And I saw them for the first time, and I just fell in love with them. I'd never seen them before, and they were just a marvelous instrument. And I had the idea back then of starting a collection and restoring, and I would say about 20 years ago I began seriously doing this and slowly collecting, but again, as I say, focusing on the series vehicles. And our collection right now we're very proud of. The restorations are simply marvelous. They are true to the original form of the vehicle, and as I say, we have representations of all of the series vehicles. My interest in Land Rovers really focuses mainly on the vintage series Land Rovers, from Series 1 through Series 3. And in our collection, we have representations, generally multiple representations, of each one of those vehicles, starting with the 1947 prototype Land Rover, the 1948 Series 1, and then extending through the Series 2 and 3. I think my advice would be, get in and do it. Find something you really love. It doesn't matter what particular vehicle it is, but find one and start the process. Take it apart, find out what's wrong, get the parts that are required to fix it up, bring them together, have all of the work done, the body work, the chassis, the drivetrain, the paint. I mean, research out the proper paint for that particular year and series vehicle. And in my case, our objective is to really bring these things back to their original condition. So we would never paint one of these some outrageous color. We research what was done with them at that very moment in time. And I think if I had to say, I would urge someone to just jump in and do it, because you will find out quickly if you're really interested in this. And if you are, it is the most marvelous thing to do. It really is.
I'm Eli English, and you're watching Classic Drive Television.
Probably the most common question I get asked is, will Evans make my engine run too hot? The answer is no. Because Evans has such a higher boiling point and not create that steam vapor pressure internally, you're always going to have a constant liquid to metal contact to draw heat. Once a water-based coolant boils, it turns to steam. Steam's going to force the coolant out of the passages, and the metals will have no way to dissipate heat at that point in time. Your coolant system has to have coolant in there in order for it to work. Limp mode is typically based off of a water-based coolant. The reason being, when the engine gets too hot, the water is going to start to boil. So limp mode kicks in, reduces your engine power, so it reduces heat, and it will allow your cooling system to catch up to itself. Because Evans coolant has such a higher boiling point, and it's always going to remain in a liquid state, even if you hit the limp mode, you're going to be able to still run safely and efficiently.
My name is Guy Rowland. I'm from Montreal, and I own this Austin Healey 1962 since 35 years. I brought the car, took it apart, and it took 4 years and a half to bring it to that quality. Most of the work was done myself, including part of the painting. I have a full garage, all the tools, even a lift in my garage to go underneath the car, and I do it because you don't find any mechanic now that knows those cars. So I'm very proud of it.
Hi, we're here with Jeff Rogers at Rogers Motors, and he's one of the vendors that provides the parts to your classics. And if you own a classic British car, you're probably already know. If you don't, you will get to know Jeff, because he probably has the spares that you're going to need. Jeff, welcome to the program.
Thanks. Pleasure to be here.
So we've got a lot of stuff here. Let's walk along and tell us a little bit about stuff. You've got mirrors. It seems like just about everything, huh?
Lots of little shiny things. We're big on some of our favorite things are new old stock parts. An old part that was made probably 30, 40 years ago, still in its original box and hasn't been sullied by being put on a car yet.
Oh.
So we source these wherever we can. We find them in England. We go to the Healey Auto Jumble every year. Buy stuff there.
So it's sort of a vacation while you're looking for parts, things like that,
Absolutely,
huh?
yeah.
And then we've got some taillight sets, things like that. So a lot of the common stuff that people would be looking for their car, if they're doing restorations, they're doing things like that, huh?
Yeah, or somebody breaks a light. We actually sell hammers too, and I'm tempted sometimes to go out in the field and, bang a few lights and leave a business card on the windshield. We haven't resorted to that yet.
Ah, I see. Well, with a day like this, I imagine that a lot of traffic, people just coming to get under the tent, it's got to be 80 already this morning, huh?
Yeah, or if it's raining, we get a lot of traffic in here too.
Very good, very good. You also sell some remanufactured and some non-original but look-alike original.
We do, yeah. We sell a lot of. Well, here's a good example. This is a Lucas 576 fog lamp. And
very common, but
very common. There are better reproductions and poorer reproductions. This is one of the better ones, made of brass. It says "Made in England" on it. You can believe that or not, as you like. And they sell for $250 a pair.
That's cool.
Or if you want a pair of original ones, these are actually restored originals. So the backs were replated.
Yeah.
The lens is a new old stock part. The chrome little bits and bobs are newly made. The guy we get these from actually makes these stems and nuts, and these sell for a little bit more money. These are $350 a pair.
Well, you know, it becomes sort of a sourcing business as much as it becomes selling of parts, isn't it? You have to actually source and sometimes get involved in the manufacturing process.
Yeah, we are a partner with British Spares, Forrest Voges of Springfield, and he makes all the inner sheet metal parts for Jaguar XK120, 140, and 150. So if you need a floor or a sill or a pillar or anything like that, we market all those things for Forrest. So that's all stuff that's pretty hard to find.
Sure is. So, you know, this is really about is it's made up of a network of really enthusiasts that realized that, you know, there wasn't any place to get some of these spares, yet these cars needed to live on. So it was, the mission was called, and they took it up and decided to get involved, isn't it?
It is, really.
So tell us, how did you decide to get involved in this?
Oh, well, when I was in high school, I sort of got bitten by the English car bug and started buying junky old cars and bringing them home to my parents' house. And one day I realized that I had a lot more parts than I would ever need to fix anything I owned, and my mother was kind of keen on my sort of moving things along. So I just started advertising in Hemmings Motor News and in the MGA Club newsletter, and it was a trickly business, and it got to be more and more, and then 3 years ago we went full time, my wife and me.
Very good. Well, you know, that's the story of so many small companies that started. You know, it started out as a hobby, and the next thing you know, it became their business, and became a lifestyle, really, for some.
Absolutely. Yeah. We don't really ever get away from it. Sometimes I dream about Lucas boxes.
Little Lucas boxes under the tree?
Yeah, I think Freud might have something to say about that.
Ah, there you go. Well, again, we're with Jeff Rogers at Rogers Motors. You can find him at jollyrogersmotors.com. He's also sells on eBay and a couple other places. And of course, we're here at the British Invasion, and he's been a loyal vendor for many years now. We've had a great time. Look Jeff up, get the parts you need. This is Classic Drive Television. Thanks for joining us.